Howdy folks, and yes, I'm in shock. Yes, just like you. This could be the last episode for a month or a couple of months, depending on how long it takes to get everything sorted out and get back to work kind of thing. So as of today, theoretically, we are going under contract and we will be sold. So I have to, clean up my mess. There's lots of it, and get it out of here. And clear out the shop, the 3D printing farm, a three bedroom, 2-bath house, 2.5 bath house, and just get it all in boxes and get it ready to go. Time wise, you can spend. We've got a few weeks maybe that we can get everything packed in boxes, but we only have a matter of days to load all that stuff into containers and truck and whatever, and get it all down the road, get it gone. So it's quite a big fiasco, quite a large job actually going on. And in fact, my gal has started today. She's starting to pack glasswares and stuff like that, get things put up kind of thing, get ready to move. Yeah, so it's a job. So today, what I wanted to do today, which was on the schedule, which was a sort of a follow-up by request actually, but actually it was on my mind this morning too, was a follow-up on the HT PLA from Polymaker, which I was really excited about it. And I think you should be too, because it sounded like, it can take a higher temperature than ABS, and it's supposed to resist warping. Now, from my early tests, it looked pretty good like this right here, this little paddle. Seemed like that came out really nice and flat, and so I was really happy with that. The very next model we made from the HT PLA from Polymaker warped right on the bed. I've never seen that much warp on a bed. Yeah, so it was like great. Now it has held its shape, so that's good, but the thing is I wanted it to be like this, flat off the bed, remove it, and be able to ship it to the client and have a nice flat surface for them, because that's the whole key to this issue here, is these paddles have got to be flat when they go out of here. And yeah, this morning's was kind of it was a disappointment, I guess, and at the same time it said to hold its shape, so that's great. Now, there was one thing about the HTPLA that I don't see anywhere in there. It's not UV ray inhibited or something. So, PETG is better. It can go outside a little bit, where PLA will just turn into something weird outside. Yeah, and ABS, of course, is hard to print unless you have a really, you have a good controlled environment machine. ABS can be a real struggle. Now, again, I'm not talking about making some small little nachos thing or something. I think there's a young man that does nacho things on there all the time. We're talking about stuff like this, where the product has got to stay in that shape, and unfortunately we can't control the environment, so sometimes the product is exposed to unusual heat problems where the warping showed up. So the HT PLA from Polymaker was like, the dream, yeah. Well, when this piece warped right on the build plate and then held that shape, it was like, that's not good. That's not what I want. So the environment could be part of the problem. We had a scorcher. It felt like 105 or something here yesterday. So when we ran the machine, it was an extremely hot environment, which I thought would actually be good, because in the summertime, I have better product in the summer. The winter is when I usually have problems, because the shop is so cold and the product cools down too fast and warps, of course. It has uneven cooling, and that's where the warpage, kicks in. So I was like thinking, great, like this HTPLA maybe that'll resist warping, and we'll get nice smooth stuff off there all the time. Apparently, in the short answer, it's no, it warped, so we got a problem. Now, all of that stops right there like a train, like a train wreck, suddenly. So I don't know where we're going to be at. I'm going to try something else. I've ordered in some of the regular PLA matte from Polymaker, and also I may have to go back, and I'll show you who I was using that had the most success. Okay, just sharing it, but it doesn't withstand heat like that HT PLA from Polymaker. but it's this Anycube. I have been ordering their stuff in, and it's been doing great. It's been giving me minimal warpage, but the problem with this stuff is if it gets exposed to too much heat, it warps and becomes a pretzel, and then the product is junk. And unfortunately, as I pointed out just the other last week, you know, once it goes out of here, you don't know. You just don't know what's happened at that point. The truck it's put in is maybe, you know, maybe it's got a hot container and it's 120 degrees or 140 degrees or something in those containers. You have no idea, you know, what the shipping container situation looks like, or the truck or whatever. And one of the worst things I ever did was I had one in a package like, you know, this idea with a paddle, and it was packed, and I threw it up on the dash of the car, left that in the sun for, you know, a couple of hours in the morning before shipping, and realized it's been exposed to the sunlight. It probably reached who knows what temperature in that packaging, so it was like it was warped. It was ruined by the heat. And you can't, I've tried using heat guns and all kinds of experiments to unwarp it. I even tried using an old machine and just heating up the bed, putting it on the bed, clamping it, putting weights on it, whatever, and letting it set up really good and, you know, hot up to like 100 Celsius, and then cooling it down and then seeing if it, you know, reduced the warpage. And it actually helped a little tiny bit, but it did not get rid of the real, you know, the pretzel on the paddle kind of thing that was all, you know, warped out of shape. So yeah, this has been just an ongoing battle with me. I may have to start looking at down the road. I may have to spend some money and get a machine in here that is a fully enclosed cabinet that can run like ABS or some other type of material, because the PLAs and the PETG is just, it's just not working. You know, it is warping from heat, and that's a huge problem with me. This has been okay for now, but the problem is we get about 10 to 15% product loss due to warpage. Yeah, not good. So I guess right now, as far as the HT PLA goes, we're going to continue to mess with it and just see if we can figure out a way to get around the warpage problem, because if it will hold its shape after the fact, then that would be great. But as it cools down, it looks like I may have to put a cloth on there or something to help, you know, control the heat when it dissipates from the bed. So anyways, let's get off of that topic. Back to, oh boy, moving. Yeah. We've got a whole household to move, workshop here, a barn full of tools to move. So there's a lot of stuff that has to be hauled out of here and packed up well in order to keep it in good condition while it goes on down the road to wherever it's going. The new shop hopefully will be set up well to accommodate what we're doing. The other thing that everybody and anybody should be talking about is, yeah, we've been playing with the 68 Camaro right now, and for like a restoration project. And so right now I'm hoping I'll get there probably Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to go take a look at the car again because I want to do some follow-up on it. The number one, there's two questions I guess, but the number one item that's really funny, I have not looked at the wheels to see if they're rally rims or, you know, what's on there right now. And the tires seem to be holding air, which is really bizarre, because the car, I just found out the other day, apparently it's been in there for over 15 years. Yeah, it's been sitting a while in there. And so with that in mind, it was like, I need to take a look at those wires. You know, obviously the dry rot on the tires, whatever, I'm not going to worry about that, but I don't know what rims or, you know, what she's sitting on right now for tires. So it was like, we need to take a look at that because I don't know. And the other thing was, I've got to get back to this transmission question, because it looks like the car went through some kind of evolutionary period where I don't know. I think they were going to try to go to a 4-speed, or they were coming from a 4-speed and wanting to go to an automatic. I'm not really sure what happened, because we did locate 2 transmission lines that were cut off and snipped and turned back. Now, that's fine, because ideally, if the car's going to be sitting a long time and then you're going to put transmission, you probably want to run new lines up to the radiator and, you know, whatever. So it might make total sense that that's just scrap, and that new transmission lines or, you know, cooling lines will be run or something like that. Maybe that was the plan. It's really hard to read into some of this stuff because you don't know what the previous owner or what was going on. Also heard some horrible stories. The car, before that was stored, apparently it was left outside for a bit behind a shop. Oh man, yeah, you know, like, whoa. And at that time, might explain, there was some people ripping stuff off from the car, stealing things. Like, great, just sort of thing you need to hear. And one of the items that Well, you know, again, we'll see. It's not just the transmission, but obviously the motor doesn't belong to that car. So that would explain sort of the damage to the dashboard, because the dashboard was fine, and somebody had, you know, I guess crowbar had tried to, you know, wrench it out of there. They had cut it at some point. I don't know what all was going on with it, but it appears that somebody was really tearing the car up, trying to, you know, get parts out of it, or something was going on. And it looks like they were successful on some of it, and some of it they just damaged it and just left it the way it is. So yeah, shame on, you know, whoever was up to no good. So I don't know. I will probably have to replace the dashboard. The metal dashboard is about, I think it was about, well, that's close to around $300, I believe. But that's, you know, that's fine. It'd probably be better to spend $300 and just replace it than to try to, there's just no way to repair it. Half the dashboard's missing, and there was damage from, like, look like, I guess, a crowbar. They were trying to rip the dash from the car somehow to remove it. Yeah, you know, I don't know where that was going, but maybe they were going to resell it for scrap metal, because that's the mentality around some of these places these days. Is they just, you know, oh, it's, you know, a couple more pounds of metal on my back of my pickup truck, you know, gives me, yeah, puts another $1 in my pocket. Yeah, so they'll work half a day to try to rip a, yeah, dashboard out of an old vintage car, I guess we'll call it. Shame on whoever it was. Anyway, meantime, I will get up there. So we'll try to answer those two questions, find out what transmission is in there, and also those tires. And the other thing, I haven't been able to identify the motors, the 327, 350. Yeah, I think, you know, the motor does not belong to the car. You can tell, obviously, it's got a power steering pump on it, and it's a standard steering car, standard brakes. It's like, no, that don't even belong in here, kind of thing. So I was like, wow. We will get on back to that too, and explore some more of the components that are on the car. And also, okay, now this whole moving situation. Yes, I'm gonna have to probably fly back, rent a U-Haul with a trailer, and haul the car, I believe, to Georgia. I believe that's what's gonna, like, that looks like the plan right now. And part of the reason for that is I may have to leave some of the tooling that I have here yeah, behind until I can come back and get it, and then bring it to Georgia. So I may have to go through something like that. You know, there are just a lot of unknowns, and I also have some, yeah, got to clean up my trash here a little bit. You know. Anyway, so thank you for checking in on Coffee and Tools today. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the notice bell. We'll update you as things progress, and I believe, like I said, coming up in the next couple of episodes, might be 1 or 2 more episodes, and then we're going to have to shut down, and we're going to go off the air for, I'm just going to take a guesstimate and say maybe a month or so before we can get back at it, because I've got a lot of yeah, physical labor to do to, you know, pack stuff up. Hey, over and out.